Marilyn Manson in the video games, and then you mix that with like this kind of like TV preachers saying that too.
Yes.
And the next thing you know, you have the satanic panic. And the worst part of it is that it was all nothing. It was just a fever dream. It was all just this made up crap.
They always go to that.
Yeah. It's the devil. That's what it is. So,
it's the devil.
You know, we laugh about like, you know, killing Ted in the field, you know, to sacrifice him for crops, you know, but it's still the same bullshit. It's the same stuff nowadays. Something bad happened. You know what it was? Goddamn devil. Goddamn devil did it. That's what it was.
Because y'all, what it was.
Yeah. Anything that's scary. Fucking Satan. That's what it was. It's those damn Satanists. If you haven't seen that movie, have you watched the movie Hell Satan?
No.
You totally should. You totally should. It's about the Satanic Church. It's so good. Mwah, like it's good. Like I would encourage anyone that's interested in religious freedom to go watch it. It really, I will support the Church of Satan just for the fact of the matter that I support religious freedom. And the movie itself really demonstrates the hypocrisy between Christianity and every other religion in the country.
Right.
It's in what it really showcased here in Phoenix, the fact that Phoenix City Council would encourage people to come and give prayer before they would do their council meeting. And they just said prayer, and it was okay as long as you didn't give any prayer that they didn't disagree with. So as long as you gave Christian prayer, as long as you came from the Catholic Church, as long as you came from a Baptist church. And then the Church of Satan, based out of Tucson, was like, oh, fuck this. Let's go give a satanic prayer. And they're not even really Satanists. That's the funny part about it. None of them actually like believe. They're all pretty much just atheists, you know?
But they do it to make a point.
They do it to be dickheads and make a point, right? And they show up like, we're going to give a prayer for Church of Satan. In the very next meeting, they're like, okay, we're canceling all prayers moving forward.
Like everybody wants Christianity in all public schools and stuff like that.
Well, your religion is perfectly fine as long as it's exactly the same as mine. Right?
Exactly.
It's kind of the same thing that we see in politics right now. I mean, your politics are fine as long as they're no different than mine. But if they're any different than mine, then you're awful, right?
I just tell nobody shit down here about nothing with politics.
I just ignore it.
Whatever Fox News has posted is the God's given truth. Like Jesus came down and told that Fox News anchor what to say.
So yeah, no, right? It's so. So I pulled up. Let me do this because we get ranting and then, which is fun. That's what I enjoy. I really don't care. This is like Sam Shaw's and a little bit of Drell's when he'll talk. Our lives kind of mixed together and then peppered in with like a little bit of ghost stories. Yeah. So I found one kind of local here.
The area is pretty fucking scary, to be fair.
Yeah. We could just do an entire podcast just on like just people of Tazewell County, Virginia. We should do that. That'd be good.
Bicycle Jack, go view him if he's still alive.
We should. You know what we should do is I don't know if they have busted papers everywhere, but you should get a copy of the busted paper. And then when we record, we'll read pages from the busted paper. That would be really good. So one thing that I found, we're getting ready to go on this haunted road trip, which is going to be super cool. And we're hoping that you'll be able to like Zoom or Skype in, you know, while we do some of this.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is going to be super awesome because we're going to Tucson, we're going to Bisbee, Arizona, and we're going to Tombstone, Arizona. And so Jarrell and I, if he'll talk, he's learning how to podcast. We sit down and we booked this today. So we got our hotels booked and everything. And it's going to be super fun. So I'm super excited for people to join. They can head over to the websites and stuff, and I'll share those. You can actually head over to my website, sugoodman.com, and or palehorsemediaco.com too. And you can find the events, and people can actually sign up and be there with us when we do this, because we're going to bring out like a spirit box. We're going to do like the whole thing, you know, other than a Ouija board. Cheyenne taught us not to use the Ouija board.
Don't fuck the Ouija board.
We're not using the Ouija board.
But we're gonna use the spirit
box. The demon's going to come and get Jarrell.
No.
Oh, you can wish, but
shut up. Did we tell you the story when? Oh, never mind.
What? Go ahead.
The Galveston.
No, tell it. Go ahead.
No, Sam did nothing.
Hold on. So let's back up. So we got a couple. We can we'll quit talking about mountain superstition and snake handling and dumbass boomers and olds. We're talking about the olds, and we'll actually talk about a couple of paranormal things before we get done. But so we went to, and I'm going to shut up and let Jarrell tell it because he needs to talk. But I just want to set the stage. So we were going on a cruise. It was your first cruise, right?
Mm-hmm.
His first cruise. We're all excited, and so we went to Galveston. And for those of you that have out there that have not been to Galveston, Galveston is just cool. I love Galveston. It's just a cool spot. And we decided, it's your first cruise. This is our first vacation in a while. Let's get fancy. Get some bougie ass historic hotel and make it nice. And we did. We got like a ballin' ass room, right, in this old I can't remember the name of it. But as we were getting ready, like I showed him the stories, I'm like, oh fuck, this hotel's like haunted as shit. And like it's super old. They use it as as with all, what is it with fucking hotels? As with all hotels, they use it as like a hospital a couple times. Like, they would have like, it's like used as a hospital, and then they had like some massive hurricanes. They used it as like a morgue, and like it's just like bad stuff. And they're like, okay, it's a morgue today, it's a hotel tomorrow. It's all good. Let's just keep this fucker rolling, right? but so then we started reading these stories, and so he started getting a little freaked out. But so we go there and we check in, and then he can take the story from there.
But let me clarify. So when I was looking for hotels in Galveston, like Sam kept recommending this one, and I didn't know that it was haunted. So, it looks nice, looks cool, it's whatever. Let's fine, let's book it. Until he tells me that it is haunted. So then I had no choice. I already paid for it.
You're just done with it by then,
yeah,
though.
It's like I can't take my money back. So then, once we got to, was it Houston Airport? On the way to the Galveston hotel thing, I started reading all the ghost stories. So I kind of hyped myself up for it. But it's like the normal, people would say they would hear noises, or people would grab them, or the lights would flicker on and off, and then doors would slam or whatever. So it came to the point we went inside the room. We're getting ready for bed because the next day we're going to board the ship or whatever. Sam went to sleep already, so I was still watching TV because I was already hyped up. I couldn't sleep because it was running through my head, and I was watching TV. It was past 3 already. It was 3:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's the witch's hour.
I know. That's what freaked me out. I was like, okay, Drew, go to sleep before 3 o'clock. Go to sleep.
I always told myself that too.
I was like, I'm gonna die. But it was 3:30, 3:45. I was watching TV. The lights are off. Then all of a sudden, this hotel is really old. It's not really updated or anything. It's just really fancy but old. And then the lights turn on out of nowhere. All right, so I fucking freaked out. I was like, "What the fuck?" Then I elbow Sam, babe. He goes, "What?" And, the lights turned on by itself. It's not censored or nothing. He goes, "What did she say?" So what? Fuck off. Just go to sleep. I'm like, I know and shit. Well, thanks a lot for saving me. But yeah. So now that he tells me we can go on this trip, it's gonna be the same thing. No one's gonna come and save me.
A demon's gonna come, he's gonna push you out in the way.
That's why I'm I'm not so excited about it, but I'm excited, but I'm not.
Let me insert this though right here, because I think it's an important fact to state. This room had these super fancy, high-tech lights. Okay. No, hold on. It wasn't walk in, flip a switch kind of lights. Okay. There was multiple pads that were all computerized, programmable dimming lights, right? In which some of those you could even set to times to come on at different times.
Sam, did you set them for certain times?
So I didn't set them, but God knows who was in the room before us, right? So when the lights, because we were already fiddling with the lights and all this stuff, So when it did happen, I'm just whatever. And if it was, it could have been. It totally could have been. Right? Who knows?
But we were there for hours. I did not touch the lights.
Yeah, but somebody could have set it to come on for you. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know. I believe in
those.
But it was super. Listen, it was super creepy. I will say that the hotel was beautiful.
It was very pretty.
I didn't feel anything in there. You know how you kind of walk into certain places and you kind of get goosebumps, and you're kind of ugh.
Sam walks into the place. He's like, "Fuck you, demons! Come get me!"
Yeah,
seriously.
Jarrell walked in. He's like, I'm not gonna go poop in the bathroom unless the door.
I had to leave the door open to take a shit. Like, babe, I can't. If something grabbed me and I die in here, it's like a bad way to die. I'm like, I'm pooping. People find me dead or something. My head's cut off, and like I have shit down my legs and stuff.
Like, I am 28 years old, but I'm still fucking terrified of the dark. So, like, if I go to the bathroom at night, I have to turn on every light I pass and leave the door open. I'm like, Preston. I hate to. My two biggest fears in life. This is why I don't sleep naked. Okay, I'm gonna be a fire, and they're gonna find my dead body, Fred Eagle, naked, or I'm gonna have to run outside naked.
Well, at least if there's a
fucking die, and they'll find me naked. It's gonna be an unfunny.
Let's say, at least if there's a fire, you'll just be crispy. You know, your clothes are probably not going to be there anyways. They're going to.
Well, what if I run outside or have to like bust through a window and I'm like, I'm naked?
Just be a good story. You just like running around naked, like covered in shards of glass and like blood. Some out of a horror movie.
I'm terrified.
I think at that point you're just like, God, fuck it, I'm alive. I don't care if I'm naked or not. Look at me, woo! Like, you know.
Just run around the dark. Woo!
I think it's funny because I'd forgotten about that a little bit until we brought up that story. But the one that I found, because I've been researching stuff quite a bit here, just like you've been researching stuff there, and I think it's cool that you're kind of like starting in that location. I'm starting here. Jarrell's actually been researching stuff in the Philippines because I think that's cool too.
Oh yeah, there's so much out there, and they believe in a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm. It's so funny because they're just as superstitious as mountain people. Like we're so much the same. I think it's interesting.
Right.
Just darker.
I think it's I don't know if it's darker. It's probably about the same.
But we don't handle with snakes. Okay.
No snakes. But I found one. So there's a place in downtown Phoenix that we've actually passed quite a bit.
I never knew that.
And it's called the Hotel San Carlos. We've seen it a bunch. And it's old. It's old. And it's not like there's nothing in Phoenix old compared to the East Coast, obviously.
Right.
Phoenix is like 100 years old. Like it's not like that old. But when I say old, it's old for Phoenix. This hotel was built in like 1928, which is super old for Phoenix. But what's interesting is they have kind of your classic lady in white situation kind of going on there, you know, and that seems to be a thing. It seems to be a thing at a lot of places, whether it's, you know, you hear about the ladies in whites, the ladies in white that you see that are hitchhiking. You see them in hotels. You see different stories of them that help, you know, what's the one if you stop at certain areas or on certain railroad tracks, you know, that they'll push you across the tracks and you'll see handprints on the back of your car.
Oh, do you remember that on the brakes that it's an uphill thing?
Right,
if you put your car, but it's really one of those places. It's like a phenomenon. It looks uphill, but it's actually downhill.
Yeah, but this one, what I thought was super interesting about this hotel is that one of the first ghost stories I thought was cool about it, and I guess not cool, I guess that's probably not the right word, but it was from early on. It was really some of the first rounds of guests that were in this hotel was a young lady her name was Leon Jensen. And she basically took an envelope that was provided by guest services and, you know, kind of stationary, you know, as you get in kind of fancier hotels and you used to get back in the day. And she basically wrote this super thoughtful apology letter to the manager. And then she leapt from the top of the building and killed herself. Right. Mid-20s. She's in her mid-20s. She was visiting from L.A. And she basically wrote that she was checking out permanently. And this was on the early hours of May 7th in 1928. So right around the same time the hotel opened. But this is what she wrote. She said, the coroner will attend to my bill and be sure all my clothes are packed. I have $5, which I will get later tonight. Will that help any? My income was due on the 10th, but it wasn't to be. That was her suicide note. Basically. So she's basically saying, don't worry about the room. The coroner will pay for it. I already packed my clothes and here's $5. That should help, you know, with some of it. Right. And again, she jumped off there. She had wrote some other notes that were also included there. One detailed request for her funeral. Others were to, you know, specific friends and things like that. But so she jumped from the 7th floor and that was that. Right. Folks, basically from the accounts on Monroe Street, which is down here in Phoenix, there was a patrolman that was there and just heard a scream and then a thud at 2:45 a.m. And it's obviously super tragic end for somebody, but it was the beginning of the ghost stories really here at the Monroe, or excuse me, at the San Carlos. I was thinking of the street there. But basically the beginning of the ghost stories here. So it was super well documented, and there's been tons of documented sightings of this lady in white. And they think that it's her, right? And